Kašila na kantošni votaku mačatni ampiko, a petukile hojuni čapi, omaničivo evo hipi na taku akiunju, ja tamo ukasne na uadle, vojišća, na uahvala uničita talo. Ne petukile tono vačinja pika, ena vičunki ksijapi, ja voki ena vičozani, či vičunki apelo, ja petukile ušinkila po. Omitaku oya.
Hey ha yo, hey ha yo, hey yo, hey ha yo, hey yo, hey yo, he yo, hey ha yo, hey yo, hey ha yo, hey yo, hey ha yo, hey yo, hey ha yo, he yo, hey. Konka shela yapi hawa pahakena ohe hanke shnile na jiktelo ay o flatewa oya teke haya wichi chanti kachale chamu eloyo ay lama.
We have a question?
Yeah, Chairman, I guess I'll make that motion to assist this, the Chungu coal 7 generation. Is that what you guys have?
Okay, can we get the request to the excuse first, and we'll approve the agenda, and then you can make your motion?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Request to the excuse is Lisa Whitepipe, Vanessa Redhawk, Martha Blue Thunder, Sunil Blackfeather, Stanley Woodknife Jr., Wayne Fredericks. Is there anybody else that needs to be excused from present or prior meetings? Oh, Cher did call in, so, right? Okay.
Chairman,
Go ahead, Donna.
I like, you said prior, present, past meetings,
Yeah.
I would like to be excused for last Thursday.
Okay.
And if no objections, I'll move to, excuse.
I don't know if I was excused for last week.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Motion by Donna to approve the excuses. Need a second? Eileen, question by Bill. All in favor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Opposed?
0.
Not voting?
0.
Motion carried. Okay, we have agenda approval today. We have a few resolutions to be added to the agenda. They're time sensitive, so after we get done with the Regional Director Tim LaPointe's presentation, we'll do some resolutions. So if there's anything else on the agenda? If not, I'll need a motion to approve the agenda. Ray, question, a second by Micah, question by Jordan. All in favor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Opposed?
0.
Not voting?
0.
Motion carried. Okay, Pam, go ahead.
I'll make the motion to assist, that's what they're called, right? Chungu coal 7 generation?
Yep.
With the donation of $1,100 out of our youth account to assist them with getting shirts for their event.
Okay, need a second, Eileen?
I had a comment also.
Are you second too? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'll second.
Go ahead.
I was wondering, Pam, can you do it at 2,000, because they need, food too?
For 15.
Because, they're doing, 50 shirts, and they're kind of doing, first come, first serve, but if we was able to give them 2,000, then they could get more t-shirts along with their food, and not do first come, first serve.
I'll amend it.
Amend the motion. Question by Jordan. All in favor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Opposed?
0.
Not voting?
0.
Is that
I wouldn't shake everybody's hand, but your mom is happy?
No, it's Patrick.
Oh, okay.
Patrick.
Sherry, is that the right? Do we need a 7 generations named a check, or do we didn't put it in somebody's name? You wanna put it in your name?
Yeah, we can put it in mine.
Okay, we'll do that.
Also, I guess I would make the suggestion that Sheree work with our local tribal transportation program, transit program, and see if they're able to get out into the communities on them days to give students or people rides in on these places where they're going to meet.
Need a motion that the transportation help out with their program?
Transit.
Okay. Need a second? Ray? Any more discussion? Question by Eileen. All in favor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Opposed?
0.
Not voting?
0.
Motion carried. Okay, next thing on our agenda is, Tim LaPointe. And, he's got his presentation, he had a PowerPoint, but I guess it can't come up, so he printed off copies of it. Work too, I guess, so.
Good morning, Tim LaPointe, Regional Director. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for the invitation. I don't really have a whole lot to talk about. I'm here to address any concerns that you may have. I'm here by invitation, so thank you again. The one thing that I am passing out is information on the budget and how we come up with the budget. There was a question that came up at the energy meeting that we had with Senator Rounds in Rapid City back in May. And there was a comment made that before the tribe gets its funding, PPA funding, that central office takes part of it, and then the regional office takes part of it, the agency takes part of it, so by the time it gets to the tribe, there's pennies on the dollar. That is not correct. Whatever is designated for the tribe gets 100% of what's designated for the tribe. And that's what this PowerPoint or handout that's going around now. That provides the process for how the budget is developed and all the steps that go through that development. There is a Tribal Interior Budget Council that meets on a quarterly basis. The next meeting is coming up the week of July 31st. So just in a couple weeks, there's another TIBIC meeting. And Lisa Whitepipe is actually a chair on that committee. And so the interior reps, the tribal reps get together and work on a budget, priorities, and right now we're working on the 2025 budget. We operate 2 years behind on preparing the budget. So, any questions on that? I don't know if we want to go through anything here that's in the packet, but it's just some basic information about the process.
I don't want to walk us through that, or just,
Sure.
it's just a summary of the budget process. Do you want Tim to talk about that, or do you have any questions for Tim today? I know we all got our CFR book the other day, so CFR 25, he said he's going to recite everything in here. So,
That's right.
and then after he's done that, he can sign mine for me, so.
Are we getting to the next section, the part 2 on it?
I don't know, I don't know, it's part 2, I don't know if I can remember that much.
There's a part 2 that has been amended. I'm not sure if that's what yours.
This is part 1, this is part 1 of April 1st, 2020.
Okay, yeah, we'll get you the part 2.
Chairman, I need to make a motion regarding that TBEC meeting that's happening. I thought Lisa made one, but I guess there wasn't one made, so I need to make one for July 30th through August 5th, I believe it is.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor to approve travel for the TBAC meeting.
And I think it's in Niagara Falls, huh?
It is.
Yeah,
It-
Niagara
The one
Falls.
thing about the cost is that we will pick up the cost of for travel.
Yeah.
So just use a rep.
I think the last TBAC meeting, we didn't have a whole lot of representation there. I think Lisa couldn't be there at that one or something, or like.
No, she was there, she chaired that meeting, I was there, and I'm trying to remember who else went during that time. I think you and Wayne were busy
Yeah.
meeting with congressionals, but we were all there, it just, there was a very much council reps there.
All right, need a second to that motion. Bill, question by Donna. All in favor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Opposed?
Zero.
Not voting.
0.
Motion carried. Any other questions for Kim? Or Kim, do you have anything else?
Well, just if you would let me, or send me the final cost on that, we will reimburse the travel.
For the whole council?
For this flight.
Yeah, I know. There's one thing that I wanted to ask you as far as our contracting officer and stuff like that. We had a problem with our drawdown, and we didn't get it till later on during the year. Can you talk a little bit about that, and what's causing that problem? Our area is fine, but other people other tribes that are having the same problem, their drawdowns and.
Yes, the self-determination, getting funds out has been an issue for us. Timing. We've prioritized some things. When the winter storm hit, we were able to get funding out right away. We got funding from central office. We kicked in some from the regional office level, some carryover, and we were able to do that right away. But a lot of it is the volume, the number of contracts that we manage, and then getting the funds in at different times has affected our distribution. And then we only had 2 awarding officials in the entire region up until just recently. We've added, or we're attempting to add 2 more, and so that would give us 4, and that should speed up getting the funds out a little bit faster. Andy Wong, who works here at Rosebud Agency, I'm sure you know her. She's one of the best employees that we have in getting the funds out. So we're fortunate that she's with us and she's helped us out across the region, not just here. And last year she even helped out other regions. So we're fortunate to have her. We are working to improve the process. We're adding staff. We're trying to add staff at Cheyenne River, and that would give some relief throughout the region. And then we're hopefully adding another position at Turtle Mountain. So we're taking some steps to add staff. So to get to the awarding official, it takes time. It takes years, actually, with all the training and experience that's needed. And so it's made it difficult to hire staff that can come in and start awarding. We're working with BIE. Hopefully they're going to be preparing their packages because we also distribute BIE and OJS. So we've got a lot of work, not just within the Bureau of Indian Affairs. So it's volume and different times when the funds come in, and then not having enough staff. So all those things affect how quickly we get the funds out.
Yeah.
Jordan, do you have a comment, question?
I guess I just have
Can do that.
a question about, I know like our 638 contract for law enforcement, we never got an increase. Our law enforcement office has been running off of the same allocated money from like 1990s. It's like $1.something million a year. So I guess I would like some work done on that to try to increase that, because if it wasn't for the extra money our tribe has received, we wouldn't be able to. I think we have like 19, 20 officers we're able to give employment to, but that's not enough to go off of that one, the VIA drawdown. And then another thing is our education. I heard that they're going to try to take some of the money away from BIE education. And one of our schools, St. Francis Indian School, relies on that money, so I guess, just something to keep on your radar, because one of our tribal schools does use that money, and I don't feel we should be taking from those entities, we should be trying to keep them funded.
A little more.
Yeah,
I can't disagree with you. You know, and that's one of the things I've heard, over and over is the law enforcement funding is not enough. Every tribe probably in Great Plains has brought that up. So hopefully this coming budget year will have some additional funding, but that's really up to Congress to decide the amounts, and then it goes to our staff in central office will prepare the budget, and it's approved by, there's a kind of a long process for doing that. But we're hoping to see some increases, and hopefully nothing's taken away from education.
Any other comments, questions for Tim?
So are you in support of getting us out of base funding?
Well, there has been other funding opportunities. There's a lot of grant opportunities out there right now.
No, I mean, I'm talking about base funding, I'm not talking about grant.
Well, it all factors into what's available for the tribe. Carryover, you know, we've been able to supplement some projects. We've funded Fish Law, I think up to 1.6 million, I believe, over the last 7 years. So we've been able to address something specifically. Base funding, I'm all for getting more funding. Yes, I'm all for it.
Base funding.
I'm for it. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's definitely a shortage. If you listen to NCAI, I believe their annual funding amount is around for a fully. I can't. Don't quote me on the number, but it's around 22 billion is what's needed, and we get around 3 billion. So if their numbers are correct, we're short by a lot.
Donna and then Russell.
Hello, I'm Donna, I represent Sioux community. I have a question on, funding. Is there any tribes out there, out of all of our tribes, that receive any type of funding for lineal descent?
In what context?
Okay, so we don't have lineal descent right now, but we have a motion that says lineal descents, if we accept them into our tribe, they're not eligible for any of the IHS funding or anything. Is there any type of funding anywhere for lineal descent?
There may be. I want to say there's some blood quantum requirements.
Yeah,
On
we
some of
have
those things.
Okay.
Okay. I would probably have to take that question back before I answer without having all the information, but I can find it out.
Thank you.
Russell?
Yes. Thank you for coming all the way from Aberdeen. I guess, and I know what kind of answer we'll be given, but, you know, we've been pushing the BIA to recognize and support our water rights. We had a meeting with, at that time you weren't there. Greg Borland was in charge. They sent us a letter. I can't remember, I don't have it with me, but we wanted that change, the language to change, that the BIA is supporting our efforts in terms of water rights. And then he said, I'll redo the letter and I'll send it out to you guys this week, you know. Revise it and send it. They agreed with us. And somehow, during that timeline, as a matter of fact, we had a meeting at the superintendent's office on Zoom kind of thing with Greg Borland. basically told us they're gonna revise it, and they agree with us, you know, that they can support our efforts in terms of water rights. But then all of a sudden, probably on your level, they got political. And now what we're hearing, and that's all we hear, is with the, what do you call those guys, the attorneys?
Office of the Solicitor.
Solicitor's office. And it's been sitting there, and you know, to us, there's something going on there that we need to know if you're gonna support us or not, you know, and it's kind of hindering some of our efforts, especially with our water resource department. And the issue with permits concerning our people drawing water out of the Oklahoma offices. I mean, it's kind of hindering, and we just asked for support. We didn't ask you to do anything other than that, and yet it's sitting at a solicitor level someplace. I don't know how you guys, maybe it. And so yesterday we had a discussion on that in London Natural, and a motion was made that maybe we need to deal directly with the Department of Interior, Deb Holland's office. And so they made a motion to do that. So I think whoever wants to go to DC and start lobbying the Department of Interior to make things happen, you know, I don't know how long, you know, you're gonna wait on the solicitor's opinion, but maybe we need to send somebody to DC to do some desk pounding. I don't know. You tell me. I mean, what is going on with that? You know, and when we ask the representatives from the bureau, local bureau, you know, all they can answer is it's with the solicitors. I mean, I'm tired of hearing that. You know, originally we had a commitment from a man in your position, and it never happened.
Well, I certainly don't see an issue with providing a letter of support. We would definitely support the tribe's right to exercise its right to water resources, whatever those may be. I think what's happened is, in terms of the water code, I know that came to us for approval. We asked for the authority. What's the authority for providing that approval? And I don't believe it's in the Constitution, and we can't find a federal statute that would provide us with authority to sign or approve that water code. Doesn't mean you don't have the right to do it. Tribal sovereignty would presume to give you that right to govern within the reservation boundaries. So we would definitely support the tribe's right to govern. But signing the water code, give me the authority for us to approve it. And I know that, I believe Mark Van Norman had indicated that there was a 1889 statute that might give us the authority to do that. I haven't seen that. You can cite me the authority, we'll take another look at it. I'm not sure exactly what's pending with the solicitor's office, but we can definitely provide a letter of support.
Well, that's what we were asking for, you know. We originally asked for you, the Department of Interior, to recognize that water right code. And, you know, if you guys can't use that particular word about recognizing it, and you want to, you know, we just need a letter, of some kind of official letter from you supporting, and it's just up the alley of your Interior Department priorities. You look at number 4, ensure tribal sovereignty means something like support tribal self-determination, self-governance, and sovereignty. If you guys are following this priorities, that falls right in there someplace, I would think.
Oh, but on what rate?
We could say something similar to that. That indicates that we recognize the code. We recognize the tribe's right for self-determination and for its right to govern within the reservation. I don't know if that would work for you. That'd be something separate from just.
Yeah, I mean, we had a discussion, you know, and I think Greg knows. Was you at that meeting?
Yes, I was.
Were you? Yeah.
I'll talk to Rick.
Yeah, and then give us a feedback, you know, because every time we have landed natural, I'm gonna ask those questions. And I think it's something that Syed is waiting for too, you know, so we can move ahead and deal with our water rights issue here.
We'll put a priority on it and we'll get something arranged.
And the other thing that kind of troublesome for us as a tribe is, and I know it's a priority for the Department of Interior, is to develop our energy and natural resources. I know some tribes really push that. One of the things that scares us is that you're really pushing hard to develop in our treaty boundary area, especially on U.S. forest land, BOR land, and we have standing resolutions here, probably about 5, 6 of them, that we are against mining. We even support the idea of amending the mining law. I think it was developed in, I can't remember, 1881 or something like that. I mean, there's things that we're really, you know, drafting resolution. Those are our laws that we submitted in the past. And you know, for us here on the Rosebud, especially in support with Oteti Shaka Council Fire, we're trying to maintain our stance in terms of our treaty and treaty boundary area. And all the development that's going on, especially, you know, the search for the rare elements, you know, we used to get that from China, now that's all cut off. I know they're really pushing hard, especially up in the Black Hills, western Black Hills of mining, looking for that rare element. And that rare element that they're looking for is worth a lot more than gold itself. Because, you know, we all have these phones, right? This basically dictates our lives anymore. And they use that rare element components of that to incorporate that into these. And it's probably needed, but we still maintain our stance on treaty boundary area. I mean, we've been winning some cases going along with our treaty rights. So that's something that I don't know. It's kind of conflict. You know, our laws here conflict with some of your priorities. So you tell me what those priorities are. You know, substantially develop our energy and natural resources. And if you want to, you know, help in that way or in that form, then give us we're looking for wind power, or we're looking for help from the sun in terms of developing something. We want to be involved in things like that, but not mining. Otherwise, we're going to have to go back and bow to the Bureau and rescind all our resolutions. I don't think that's going to happen. I hope not. This council is different anymore, so it could change. But at this point, we do have those laws in place, or resolutions.
Understood.
Okay, and I will keep tabs on the Bureau,
Yeah.
and see, maybe we get some feedback from you.
And I expect that, keep tabs on us, ask us questions, I mean, that's why I'm here. As far as setting priorities, the tribes, as long as I've been the regional director, I've tried to make sure the tribes set our priorities, at least at the regional level. Some of those concepts, if you look at the mission statement of the Bureau of Indian Affairs, promoting economic development is one of our mission statements to do that. But you, the tribe, would tell us what we can do to help on that end. So, yeah, I know that for the mining issue, do you have anything pending right now that you want us to weigh in on?
Well, we're trying to keep those mining, or, what do you call it, they're drilling.
The permits?
Pardon me?
Is it the permits?
No, right now they're doing it up in the Black Hills. And, of course, you know, we do claim all of the Black Hills, you know, through our treaty. It was given to us and taken away from us arbitrarily. We still maintain that stand, that there are exploration going on up in the hills area. And I'm sure our treaty people are on top of it. You know, they probably have more information on what's going on. Our purpose right now is to protect everything and anything surrounding Tesla. And we're also, and we need support. You know, for example, we need to sit down with the National Forest Service and help us with access to Blackout Peak. You know, we have to cross Custer State Park, and it's always been an issue with our people going there, and we need some help like that, and I'm sure the treaty people are probably right on top of that too. The other thing we're looking at is we're looking for support, and again, it might cause you to send letters to the solicitors, but we're looking at working with the U.S. Forest Service to go in partnership to maintain Blackout or Peshlock, Flag Mountain. Flag Mountain is there for a reason. And if we can take management of that, that's right adjacent to our property now. Those are the kind of support that we need from Department of Interior. We only got this window of opportunity here in the next couple of years. You never know what's going to happen. And so, you know, as long as we can move on things like that, I'm hoping that this tribe really formulates a good plan. But our purpose is, again, protecting Tesla and their youth. And I'm thankful, that's, you know, for some assistance that you've given us financially so that we can maintain law enforcement in Bear Butte and Tesla. And that gives us really a good start in working with the local government, Pennington County and Meade County. So, you know, if you want a position paper or if you want something in writing, or we can send you all the list of our resolutions that we've passed here, we can do that.
Well, tell me what you want to see from me. What do you want as regional director, what can I do?
Well, for one thing, right now, we want some kind of an official response from you in terms of that water.
Okay.
I mean, we'll go back to your office and take care of that. Send us something official from Department of Interior. You know, we went to Department of Interior and they pushed it back to the local level. So when they pushed it back on your shoulders, then you should be able to get in support what we're asking.
We will send a letter on.
And again, I'm not, I don't know, you sit on the treaty council, right? There are some issues that you're probably working on that we can draft and send to you quickly.
Do that. And then, on the Bear Butte applications, there's 2 fee to trust Bear Butte applications. We will be sending out the consultation letters. I'm hoping to have those out before the end of this week. We consult, we get comments back, and then we issue a notice of decision. And hopefully that will be to take the land as trust. So we're getting closer on those.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. I'm gonna go have a smoke break, guys.
We have, Jordan, that wants to comment or question.
Okay. I just have a question about the fire protection agreements with our VFDs. I know my colleague from St. Francis was asking when the superintendent was still here about a reimbursement. His community got impacted very a lot, as long as with our other ones down in that area. And they were having people working in their community buildings, evacuating people from the fire and trying to see if we could get reimbursements for that, but also our VFDs, because like Rosebud, we have our own, and then Mission has one, and I think Harmley's starting theirs back up, so if we could get those agreements to get signed in a quicker manner, because from my understanding, it takes them around 2 years to get them signed. Or just have that open line of communication with our VFDs within our reservation.
Normally it doesn't take that long. I know there was some issues a year ago, 2 years ago on negotiations for those. And that kind of held it up because there were some disagreements on getting an agreement in place again. I don't know if you can speak to that.
Yeah, I know we redid all, but I used to be the regional FMO there in the past career. But,
Ray, can you?
Sure.
We're still on air, so.
Okay. So what happened, we redid all these agreements because they were 20 years old, and usually they're 5-year agreements. So, some of the VFPs didn't agree with some of the rates that they were getting. So we sent it to the solicitor. Talking to Heath, he told me they're still at the solicitor.
They're still there.
Okay. So that's, usually it doesn't take that long, you know, we'll do the agreement and the VFD agrees with it, and they'll sign the agreement, and we'll send it to the contracting officer to approve it.
Okay. And then is there any way that you can follow up on
Sure.
with that? Because I think he submitted a budget and everything to the superintendent, and
Can you
Can
send it to me? I didn't see that budget.
so if you guys
Sure.
could follow up with that and then kind of keep in contact with our VFDs, or at least with some of us, so we can let the VFDs know what those are looking like, because
Okay.
I mean, they have a hard time too, so
And they were instructed to use their old agreement for now until,
something is passed.
until they get approval from the solicitor and to the contracting officer. So, if they can use their old agreements, do that for now.
Okay, thank you.
I should have started off at the very beginning to let everybody know that Jolyn Ashley, the superintendent, is doing a detail through the Western region. So we're fortunate to have Ray step up and serve as an acting superintendent.
Okay. I'll have him sign the CFR too then. Is there anything else for Tim Point? Go ahead, Pam.
Yeah, I guess I have a question on that superintendent business. I'm sure that you've gotten our resolutions regarding her removal and whatnot, and instead you guys just detailed her. Correct?
It's a federal position, and so yes, we appreciate the tribe's comments, and we did consult before we made the selection. But it's a federal position, and there are certain rules to follow. And I would hope that you would, if she does come back, they would give her a chance, because I think she has a lot of potential.
What went on with, I guess, give me the process of when the position was advertised, there was a support from this council on hiring, one of our local members that put in for it. What became of that?
I don't think we got any comments back.
So that's gonna be the second superintendent that you guys say you guys haven't gotten any comments back, but yet there was actually a, motion that was passed here supporting one of our local tribal members to sit as our VIA superintendent. That way we wouldn't run into any of this problem that we ran into
Process or procedure.
with this, new superintendent.
Again, I think she does have a lot of potential, and I hope you give her a chance. But I have not, I know the last 2 times we were advertised, we haven't received anything back to me. Maybe it's something done in council, but you gotta let me know.
Who skims through your email before you get to see it?
Just me.
Just you?
Yeah, a lot of times though, if I'm getting it from outside interior, it will go to my junk email. So if there's something I haven't responded to, let me know, give me a call. And it's in the hard copy. It's 11.
Yeah,
Chairman?
go ahead, Pam.
Maybe for verification purposes or whatever, can you get copies of those motions on previous superintendents that the council has voted on to have the, area office, for selection? Because I know those motions were passed and they were supposed to be sent up to area. I don't know if they were done or not, but.
There was other resolutions that you guys passed here that I did hand over to Tim LaPointe. He took them, and I think he said he was gonna, I don't know if he was gonna respond back to them or not, but at least you probably need an answer as far as the resolutions I gave you, Tim and Reverend Sturgis, talking about their view. So I don't know if we can talk about it on the air, but you want to get a response back to us, maybe to me, so I can give it to the council. We can do it that way. But I will get those motions that were made for the superintendent selection, and I'll send them up to him too. Okay?
Yeah, because I think we did recommend somebody, because there was a list that was given to us. It was broken down to, I think it started with like 5 of them, and then it got broke down to 3. And then we selected one of our own tribal membership for that position. We made a motion, and it was to be sent up to area, and I don't know if that ever got done, if he's saying that he's never gotten any kind of information from us on that selection process. But I think those types of things need to be recorded, so that way we don't have the area director standing in front of us telling us that he never received anything, when we have our tribal presidents who sit and say that those were sent and that they were given. So, and I'm not saying accusing you, it's just that it's been that way with tribal presidents.
And maybe I do have it, I'll go back and take a look, but it is a federal position. We do consult with tribes when it comes to superintendent position, but ultimately it's a federal decision on who got it.
But it's your decision for our area though. So see, you should be supporting us as a tribe, what we want. The reason for that is because we don't have the excuse of, we don't run into that problem of, like this last superintendent that you detailed out, she was hardly here. She was always down south. That was our biggest problem, because some of our elders don't understand that they can call to mission. They automatically drive all the way over there, and to have somebody tell them that the superintendent's not there and then there's acting, or there's somebody in charge that day. They don't like dealing with that. They want to see the actual superintendent, because that's how they were brought up here. So I think that, you should really look at how our tribe feels when we say we want our superintendent back in Rosebud and we want a superintendent here. I mean, that's our biggest fight right now, because that's part of your guys' agreement with us. I mean, the United States made that agreement that the BIA superintendent would be located here in Rosebud for us. But yet they're sitting in Mission, and we're tired of that. We've been passing resolutions since back in 2012, 11, somewhere around there, but nobody's hearing us. Nobody's respecting our people here. That's that's something that really upsets a lot of our older people. And so, I really hope that you come into actually writing something on why you're allowing them to stay in Mission. Why can't they be posted here? Their workers can stay in Mission, but the superintendent needs to be here. That was part of the agreement, that they be here at Rosebud Agency. This is our agency right here in Rosebud. And until that wording is changed, they need to be here.
Understood. But we did address this issue. Actually, it was brought up at the central office level to the director probably about 8 years ago. So there is something in writing in response to that very issue. And then the previous superintendent was holding staff available here in Rosebud 2 or 3 days a week, and then we didn't get anybody coming in to see us. So I know we don't have our office here, it's in Mission, but we have responded to those concerns. I will find that response by the director and send you a copy.
Hey, go ahead, Jordan.
Thank you. Just to kind of follow up with my colleagues' concerns as well, I guess like I get a lot of feedback too, and I feel like when we hire superintendents and they don't have ties to your community, to your tribe, then they're not doing what's best for our people. Because no matter what, if I'm from a different tribe or a different band, that's where my heart's going to be. And you see that, right? Because that's where she was always at. But I'm not trying to hold it against her, but I'm just saying that puts our people in a hardship because they don't have that tie, they don't have that connection to our tribe. She moved here temporarily. And I guess I would just like to see that taken into consideration because it's our people that we live with that have to take a back seat whenever their tribe has to come first. Nothing against her, it's just how it is. I mean, you guys know that if you're from a different tribe, that's where your heart's at. So I guess I would just like to see that taken into consideration.
Understood. One other thing too, natural resources was mentioned, the grazing rate for the allotted lands, looks like we'll be keeping that the same as it was last year, so no changes on that.
Is there anything else for Tim? There was a question over burial. That's always been a question since I've been in office. We've always talked about the cap as far as our burial assistance program. The BIA doesn't give the tribe a whole lot of money for the indigent burial program. We lobby for more monies up in DC. Sometimes we don't get heard. We get listened to, and they say they're going to get a response back. But they said it's going to take some type of legislative action to make that, to give us more money for that. But just for listeners and Tim LaPointe's information is that, we have probably about 400 deaths a year. Last year we paid probably about $1.2 million in burial services paid for people to be buried. When we go to DC, we always talk about a little bit about how we can get more money. And we have some, like Senator Warren, she was really interested in having her staff help the tribe come up with some type of legislation so we can fix that. We did get the cap raised to, I think, $3,500, but didn't get the amount raised, so it didn't do us any good. But we're still having a difficult time with our burial program. I know you guys can't lobby for us, but you guys can kind of fill the ears of some people as far as our concerns about our getting our loved ones buried. So, but that's still an issue. I don't know what the fix is. We keep pecking away at it, trying to get somebody to listen to us. We just haven't had the right person do it for us, I guess. So, I know the process was questioned about to our deputy superintendent last month, when he gave his report, they asked to give the process of the burial program. Because a lot of people don't understand that if they don't live on the reservation, then you can't pay for their burial. So a lot of them come back to be buried on the Rosebud and to be close to their family and stuff. But sometimes they just don't approve that. So they have to be here on the reservation before they can get their burial paid for. I think Pam was asking that question last time. So what's in front of you guys now is what Ray sent down on yesterday. So I had them printed off and I passed it out for Ray. So you want to speak to that, Ray? I don't know if you have any other answers as far as what I just told them, but.
Not really, but I got this from John, she's the one that's managing the burial program now. She does a great job. She was added these extra duties to the. We did give her a temporary promotion, but she's the expert. So if you have any questions, I can ask her. Or you guys can email her directly. But the information that I sent Scott is the process of the burial program here at Rosebud.
Anything else, Tim?
Well, for the general assistance too, I think it's important to note that, it's a hard cap. We can't add, even if we had the carryover, we can't add to that program. And that's set by Congress. And so funding that Congress designates, that's it. So we can't add to the burial program, even if we had additional funds.
I guess, under the burial assistance, one of my things that I had asked the acting was, if there's a budgeted amount for what you guys can give for an assistance for burial, have you guys looked into providing burial insurance for tribal members?
Certainly an idea. I've heard that before. As far as I know, that hasn't gone anywhere.
Is that something that you can look into and give us an update on that?
Yes, I will look into that.
And then also, one of the things that came up in our local shareholders meeting regarding our lands is the, what they call that now? The cost of, or the value of it. The value of the
Appraisal?
land. Yeah, the appraisal, anyway, it's been at, I think, $42 for what, about 10 years, they said, during our annual meeting. They said they've been asking the Bureau to do an update to that, but I don't know what's going on with that.
To what?
To our land base,
Increased value of our tribal land.
Okay. Yeah, I know it's on a case-by-case basis, depending on the purpose right now. So you're talking about the entire reservation and?
yeah, because you guys used to do it, and that's how we got clear up to $42, but I guess so you guys just kind of like stopped.
We're talking about our shares.
The great.
$42 a share, right?
Well, that's because that's what the land is valued at, but it hasn't been changed since, I think it's been about 10 years, maybe less than that, but you guys haven't done any kind of appraisals on the lands to see what that's done.
I'll see what we can do to get a market study.
And then one more thing, the Bureau is supposed to be one of our helpers in the land. So I guess what I would like to start seeing before any superintendent signs off on leases on our land. We had a lot of burn in the last few years. Longhorn, I can't remember what they called the one outside of St. Francis. And then there was Slaughterhouse Canyon, all that stuff. There was all this big acreage that was burned, and we even closed off an area for because of it. So I guess what I would like for the Bureau to start doing, or at least give some kind of direction to our TLE and solo department is, the quality of our land now. You know, is it back to par? Should we be allowing cattle to be on that land right now while it's burnt? It's still in the healing process and all of that. I think the Bureau should start looking at that stuff rather than as soon as they receive a lease, just sign off on it.
That's where RST can really help.
Well, when it comes to tribal land, the tribe decides what to do with that land.
Well, I mean, I understand that we decide, but then you guys are also supposed to be helping us with making sure that everything's being managed properly.
I guess for the tribal, I see your point on the allotted land. And, but for the tribal land, if you bring us a lease and say the tribe has entered into this agreement, I'm not sure what authority you want us to exercise to say we're not going to sign that lease. Because the tribe already made a decision on it.
I understand that, but you guys are the ones that, when we have large fires like this, it's you guys who bring in the state. You guys make that call. We don't get to make that call. You guys do that. That's why I'm saying, I don't know, for me it's really hard to understand what exactly the Bureau is supposed to be doing, because when you read it in black and white, it says one thing, but then when you talk with someone like yourself, a higher up, it's no. We don't do that. No, we can't do that. And then, but then if something's to happen right away, you guys are the first ones here to say, well, this is how it's going to happen. This is what you're going to do. And then you're the one that calls in state to help with these fires here. That's why we had such a big burn. We had a lot of people who, you know, said it shouldn't have burned that much. But again, like I said, there's a lot of things that you guys say no to, but as soon as it comes to something else, then all of a sudden you guys are involved and it's your decision, not ours.
I'm not saying no to that. I mean, do you really want us to question the tribe's decisions? I guess is what I'm asking.
Anything else for Tim? Donna?
I don't for the regional director, but I do for you, Mr. Chairman. I do see on here that there's a general assistance program and a TWEC program. Who operates those here?
That's the employment and training. I think the general assistance program was taken over by employment training. It used to be over at the Bureau, and now that the Sioux Employment Training is now gets that money to do what they need to do with general assistance.
Okay, and what about the TWEC?
I'm not sure with the TWEP. I'm not sure about that.
Is that something that?
I don't think that
we could
exists
utilize?
anymore. I don't think that exists anymore. TWEP, is
It's in
there?
the CFR.
It might be the one that's not revised. It probably needs to be revised. So.
Thank
But I do get a lot of questions about the general assistance program when people have problems up there, or if they have a concern, or how they're getting paid through general assistance. They usually call my office, and I try to help them out the best I can. So I usually call their office up there, and we communicate that way. So I don't have too many problems about general assistance program. I hardly get any, matter of fact. But I think it's probably run pretty good up at employment training. So I commend the director for doing that. Russell, do you have a question?
Yeah. I can't remember what it is. The employees, your local employees, how many staff members are you lacking at your office? And why aren't they filled? I guess that'd be my next question.
Right now, we're lacking a lot in fire. The FMO has been, the FMO, we got a lot of vacancies in the fire program. The FMO left last year and it's been advertised, I wouldn't say 3 times, with nobody applying for that position. Same way with the fire operations specialist, which is the FMO's assistant. Same way, it's advertised 3 times and no applicants or nobody applied for. The one, the field specialist.
Is it because your criteria is so high that nobody's applying for it, or what?
The FMO, you have to maintain some qualifications like IC3, firm boss, passport stater, have the educational requirements for biological science, 401, the 401 series. But as far as like the wildlife operations specialist, there's just nobody that is applying for these positions here at Rosebud. Same way with we had 2 RTRL positions for the GS4s and 5s, which is just horseshoe pits, and nobody's applying for those positions either.
Okay, what about, I guess my question is not with the fire vacancies, but what kind of, I keep hearing you guys are short on help. You know, we did request an official letter to you to deploy one of your employees for a period of time, and we got rejected. So, I mean, where are you at with the employees at the BIA?
Well, with that position, that's a critical position. That's the realty officer, which we need that position here at the BIA because we're still working on leases, which we're trying to catch up because of COVID. So they're getting pretty close to being completed. But that position is pretty critical to the agency too.
Okay, but how many employees are you lacking? What, you know, are you at 100% in terms of your staff?
With the funding that we currently have, pretty close. We got one realty assistant that's advertised and closed on the 13th. And that's to help the realty and the probate program.
Okay, now we've been supplementing employees to your office in
To the
terms
realty
of
program.
leasing the realty program. When can you actually fill those positions yourself?
Once we get the realty assistant on board, that's going to tap out their budget. So after that position is high, we're not going to be able to advertise anything unless we get an increase in our funding in the realty program.
So you're just one position you're lacking?
For now, yeah.
When the superintendent gives her report, she says that there's all these vacancies up there. And
Yeah.
I think she reported like 40 vacancies up in the office that need to be filled. And there's always a concern about the people that are ready to retire. Are we going to have enough people to be able to replace them and with the experience that they need to replace those positions? So those are the kind of things that we were talking about when the superintendent was down there. So
We'll get you the stats on the funded and vacant positions. I think that's for your question. Because if you look at our org chart, and it's based on historical funding levels, so we may have 40 on the books that are vacant, but we're not going to be able to fund all 40 of them because of cuts to our budget and sequestration and some of the buyouts that we went through. We had to show a savings. And so, yes, we may have 40 positions on the books that show that they're vacant, but there's no way we're ever going to be able to fill them unless we get additional funding.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are really supporting your employees. For example, your superintendent. You know, she's off into some training someplace. I think they're targeting her to fill your position or something. So,
I hadn't heard that.
That's just, my thought. But anyway, it seems like that's the stepping stone, you know, people come here to Rosebud and then pretty soon, just like this guy, you'll probably send him back to Northern Command to be a superintendent there, you know, I don't know, but, you know, it seems like we need, you know, you guys need to really work hard to fill a position that are vacant. That's kind of my thing.
Yeah, we're working on trying to manage with the budget we have now, with the vacant positions we have, that we can afford to advertise. I know we have 2 employees in the range department that we're trying to get them under the Rosebud agency, but they're in the pathways program. And we did get approval to advertise 2 natural resource specialists, which we're hoping they would apply and make the cert. They have a good possibility of being selected for those positions.
Well, you know, we were talking about upcoming budget too. You know, we don't know what we're gonna get next year, you know, and I think you guys, it's up to you as employees to really work hard to try to fill all those positions and have a good working relationship. You know, here, it's got a, restore trust and be a good neighbor. That's probably one of your priorities. And I think you guys need to really work hard to attain your departmental priorities. Right now, it's just hit and miss all the time. And I'm really glad you guys are coming to Land and Natural and just to kind of hang in there with us.
I'm here as the deputy and as the acting superintendent. I'll be at Land and Natural and at PLE. And if you guys want me here for the
Council meeting?
council meetings, I'll be here.
Yeah, there was a request that you stay here for the full day of the
Sure.
council meeting, so.
Sure. I'll be here at all council
Always
meetings.
issues that come up that maybe you can answer or something.
Sure, yeah, I'll be here.
Anything else?
Wait a minute, Micah.
Oh, Micah? Wait. Oh, go ahead, Wayne.
I don't want to sound naive or whatever, but I've really been confused on what the roles are with DIA, OST, ever since about Austin. I'm not sure who does what. Over at TLE, TLE is the entity that we use to manage our land. But through ILCA and through COBAL, we purchased a lot of land. A lot of land. And that was purchased with tribal monies, not TLE monies. So there's a process that we have to go through in order to give that to TLE to manage our south. We don't exactly have a handle on what that looks like, that land. What land is what? Is there anybody in your office, or is anybody at OST? I mean, who's looking out for our interest in that? Or is that something we have to do?
You should be receiving an asset statement. Every month, I believe the tribe should be receiving an asset statement that shows all the land holdings, any encumbrances on that land. You know, ILCA did purchase, and then that was out of the Midwest region. That office was run out of the Midwest region. And when Indian Land Consolidation, ILCO, Indian Land Consolidation Office purchased, there were liens on the property, or on the income actually on the income. But it showed up on your property statements. Those liens have been removed. There's no longer any liens on the income, so all the income should go to the tribe. But there's a specific code for, and I'm not sure exactly what it is. I'll find out when I get back. But there's a code that was used for when it was purchased by the Indian Land Consolidation Office. There's another code that was used for purchase by the buyback program. When the buyback program came in and purchased, and there were no liens, it went straight to the tribal inventory with no liens on the income. You know, the idea was that any income that came in for those properties would be able to have a revolving account, and you just keep purchasing interest over and over. That's all gone. So, but if you look at your asset statement, you're going to see different codes. But the tribe's the owner of all those. The OST, Office of the Special Trustee for American Indians, is now BTFA, Bureau of Trust Funds Administration. Their functions are, they're still receiving the funds. The Bureau collects trust funds, BTFA receipts the funds, invests them, and distributes IM account money. So their role really hasn't changed. They have a trust officer here, and so they're managing those trust accounts. They're similar to a bank. They're like the bank. So I don't know if there's anything specific along those lines.
When you collect their leases, and then it goes to OST to distribute those leases, is it distinguished between what is already under TLA management and what is not? Who does that for us? Is that something we have to do internally?
I have to look at your PL account. I don't know if do you have multiple proceeds labor accounts or just one?
And multiple.
Yeah, and so then that tells BTFA where to send those funds on a particular track.
And how is that done? How is that done? I mean, tract A has 1,000 acres, but 800 of those acres were purchased by Ilka or by Coval. 200 are tribe already owned and it's already under TLE management. We receive a lease for that 1,000 acres. Who breaks out that 800 acres that was purchased with tribal funds? How do we know which accounts to put that in?
It depends on how it's set up. And I can't answer that without looking at the system. So you would have to look at each one of those PL accounts and see where the income is coming from and which lands are coming from. It sounds like there's a PL account for each, depending on how the land was purchased. So, but I can't say that for sure without actually looking at the PL accounts. I can talk to Jolene and find out.
That is something you guys do?
Well, it should be based on what the tribe tells us to.
Okay.
Bottom line, are we missing out on any lease money that we should be getting to the tribe? That's what it amounts to.
There's a process that has to happen for TLE to manage its property. Just because the tribe bought land doesn't automatically make TLE manage its property. We have to process it. But until that is done, then the income received off that land should come to the tribe, not TLE. And we're having difficulty determining what that is. That's what I'm asking. Does OST do that? Do you do that? Or is that something we have to do over there?
Well, we would approve it. We should approve any, how the funds are distributed. But I will find that out, how we're collecting those funds. There should be no funds that are not coming in. It's trust income, it's coming in and put into an account somewhere.
Yeah.
And so we will find that out. And I can't answer that question until I actually look at every account. But I will do that. I'll talk to Jolene before I leave today.
Yeah. I only ask this question because if it is a problem, it might not be a problem. If it's a problem, maybe that's something we should look at. Or asking. That's something that the Bureau used to always do for us in the past. Tell us to go and all of a sudden they push it back on us. And are we ready for that?
Is that what he's waiting for?
Let's talk some more about that.
Okay.
I'll find out.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon. It's interesting to see the dynamics working in here and understanding, as a elected official, that there's things that we observe and stuff. And so my question for Tim is, in simple terms, what is your role as the regional director for the tribes or for our tribe?
Well, I am the supervisor for all the superintendents within the region, and that's 12. And then I supervise the 2 deputies. I got the deputy for youth services in Aberdeen, and the deputy for trust services in Aberdeen. And so I lead the region. That's the position of the regional director. We have around 350 employees throughout the region. And so, yes, provide direction, oversight, and hopefully good service.
And just, you know, as my colleagues ask questions or they address different issues, you know, that we're having difficulty with BIA, having you here today, you know, your responses and your answers to the questions seem to be, you answered them pretty easy. So for me, sitting here and, you know, when we have meetings, it becomes frustrating because we're waiting for responses from BIA. It's something that maybe the superintendent, you know, well, area office, our regional director, you need to hear from them. And then to have you here, you know, you know, quick responses, oh, I'll look into that, nope, I'll respond, I'll get you that. So it becomes really frustrating. And so my next question is, how do we hold you accountable?
I'll come back.
How often? I mean,
When you want me back, I'll come back, give me a little bit of time to follow up on these things. I'll come back, I'll make sure that we get a response to the concerns that were raised here today, and I'll come back to give you an update. Whenever that is. My schedule is kind of tight for the next month and a half, but if I can come back maybe in September, maybe next September meeting, I'll plan to be here and answer these questions and hopefully have some things accomplished before then.
and I know, you know, you, like Scott said, you know, you can't lobby for us, but when we have these consultations that come up, is that something that we can consult with you to, in preparation for, you know, these TVET meetings and things like that? Is that something that we can reach out to you and have you help us prepare for these?
Absolutely, and you know that occurs normally starting in November, December, January. When we come up with our priority listing for the region, and we consult with all 16 tribes within the region.
What does that look like?
Well, it's automated now. It was all, we used to all get together and come up, you know, and write it all out and then come up with a PowerPoint and list our priorities for the region, the top 10. It's all automated now, and so each tribe puts in their priorities and then we collect the data and we come up with one top 10 listing for the region. That then goes into all the other 11 regions' priorities. And so the 12 regions work together to come up with a priority list. So we're essentially, you know, every tribe is different. So essentially we're working sometimes against other tribes in other regions, smaller tribes that don't have some of the land base that's here in the Great Plains. And that leads to some different priorities for the entire country. Because, you know, we have a huge need for road maintenance, road construction. So roads has been a huge issue for us here in Great Plains. Law enforcement, usually across the board, is pretty high priority. Education. But for us, it seems to be the transportation budget line item is always underfunded. So there is a subcommittee, TIVIC subcommittee, that we do have some representation on. So that seems to be one of the hot topics every time that we meet in TIVIC. But yes, we do prepare and it'll start again in November, and then trying to work to put our priorities together for it's usually a March meeting, it's usually one big meeting for TIVIC, and that's in DC. So we can definitely, if you have some ideas on how to do it better, certainly I'm willing to listen.
So the 10 priorities, is that what this is?
Is that the national? That may be a national one. Yes, you should have the national priorities. And again, that is this is, we're working on 2025, so that's upcoming. And then that would go into the president's green book, depending on how the president's budget sees it, and there's only
Thank you.
Russell, go ahead.
One more question. First of all, I want to thank you for all the help that you've given us over the years with, in order to, for us to find our property at that and now we're working on Bear Butte. I really thank you for that. I know you spend a lot of time and energy helping us, so I appreciate that, and I want to thank you. The other thing, when the other superintendent was here, we asked about retrieving some of our documents that's in place in Kansas City, I believe, the repository, or I don't know what they call it, depository.
American Indian Records Repository.
Right. And I asked if we can send a team there to at least go in there and get some of our documents, or at least, you know, put them on a computer or something, to have access to some of these records. There's some issues with TLE that, because there was a lot of stuff that happened in the past, especially with the superintendent having the signatory authority, and there's some missing documents. But if we can get a hold of those documents that you have stored in on behalf of the Bureau, what we're wanting is at least have a copy of everything that is there that belongs to Rosebud Sioux Tribe. Is that possible?
It's probably. We can get those scanned in. I'm not sure what the volume is, but I can certainly check on that. Can you send me something in writing on that? And I don't know, maybe you want to.
I know we talked about it for quite a while, about getting copies of those records for our own use. I don't know what the processes of doing that is, but now with the technology, there's probably new ways of doing it. It's probably quicker, a lot quicker to make that happen. So I will get a letter out.
Yeah, if you can do that, and then certainly we should be able to scan those in. Are there any tribal records there, or is this all BIA records you're referencing?
This BIA that belongs to us, whatever they shift over there.
Like land records?
Right. Okay. And we did that with state of South Dakota when it came down to all the art surveys that they do in the state of South Dakota, because we still claim that as our treaty area. And years ago, they allowed me to go and retrieve all that data they had. So I sent a team up there to Rapid City, and we retrieved all those documents, and they're all on micro. Yeah.
All right, I'll check on that and see if we can get the scanning project going.
Jordan, go ahead.
Just to kind of follow up with that, I know that there was resolutions that were drafted for those documents, so I guess it kind of is concerning that you didn't already know that we were doing that. So I guess what's the line of communication? Like, how should those be funneled to you so that you know those resolutions that are passed? Because what he's talking about, we passed those in resolution form, and they were supposed to go to you already.
You usually request to me, put in writing, and say, indicate to me what you want me to do.
So is that from, I mean?
Yeah, usually the president, letter from the president.
Okay. Is there anything else for Tim? We were talking about the processes, how our needs and shortfalls get from them as far as the money that we get from the Bureau. How does our needs and shortfalls get to the right people like TBAC? And I think you guys do a report at the end of each fiscal year, and that gets processed through the GAO. Is that how that goes? Or
ONB.
ONB, okay. ONB, and then all those needs and shortfalls, you prioritize them at your guys' level, and you send them on up to the TBAC level. Is that correct?
Yes, and that's what
Okay.
the refs do.
I just wanted to make that a little bit clearer, so, okay. Is there anything else? Not, then, thank you for coming,
Thank
Ken.
you.
Appreciate your
Did
time.
BIE bring lunch or no? That's good to see you.
Okay. They did order some lunch for us, so it'll be coming here pretty quick, so.
Acting superintendent, I asked him how the employees are over there, and he said they skip through the hallways every day now. I don't know what that means, but.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ask him about my lease check. Look, Russell, last month I did get my lease check.
President,
Thanks for
thank you.
coming.
Yeah,
Thanks for
anytime.
coming. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming, Ray.
Yep. Thank you. See?
Okay, when we approved the agenda, I said we were gonna do resolutions after, the regional director's report, so. We have one from Lana Natural that's time sensitive that, Russell needs to bring on, and we have another one from Lana Natural, actually I have two from Lana Natural. And then we have a resolution that's proven some weather, stuff for the airport, so, grant. This one first.
I think I have one in the Secretary's office to buy asphalt for station.
Yeah, I got that one too.
Roads?
Yeah.
Yeah, for asphalt.
Roads.
You get this one?
Shrink there, but they use jack.
In, and then we can talk about it.
That's right,
Well, now we're all assimilated.
That last one, oh, I did it. Yeah, I did. Oh, I did it.
Transportation,
You should have put it in there.
yellow copies, transportation.
Registration too, so I'm gonna give you a number. Hey Russell, you wanna bring that on? It's 249.
the THPO one.
Okay. Motion by Russell to bring on an emergency legislation. Need a second.
Which one?
Tipple? You do Tipple?
Yeah.
Okay. Second by Fremont. Went out.
Rain down, hold on. Rain down in here. I don't know, that's-
This Sherry's down the road, but she's cherry county.
I'm not too hot, I know you have to shoot it.
More.
10 minutes?
I don't know if we'll get him back. I don't want to break.
should get shot colors.
Okay.
Call it back shot colors.
Eileen, I honked my horn when I came to Farm League. Didn't you hear me?
Sleep it.
Yeah.
Said Auga. He said.
You don't have a tunnel of love anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, we had a motion on for emergency legislation. It was seconded by Fremont. We need a question. Donna. All in favor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Opposed?
0.
Not voting.
1.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Fremont.
Okay, I'm gonna start on that fourth whereas, and I need to change the language in that because it came to land and natural instead of, budget and finance. Whereas the Rosebud Sioux Tribe, Tribal Land and Natural Resource Committee has authority and responsibility to review and recommend to Tribal Council approval of a plan project initiated for the benefit of the Rosebud Sioux Tribe. Whereas the United States National Park Service is accepting applications for its NPS FY HPF HIPPO 23 with an award of $136,503 continuation of services. And whereas the Rosebud Sioux Tribe Historic Preservation Office is currently grantee under the federal program and is seeking authorization from the Rosebud Sioux Tribal Council to apply for much needed funding for the purpose of identification, evaluation, protection of historic properties by surveying, planning, technical assistance, community outreach, development, education, re-expansion of cultural teachings for future generations, cultural places, and assist CPO in carrying out the historic preservation activity. Therefore, it be resolved that the Rosebud Sioux Tribal Council shall approve and adopt a resolution and authorize the Tribal Resource Development to work with our Sioux Tribal Historic Preservation Program to submit the application with the National Park Service. Now be it further resolved that the Rosebud Sioux Tribal Council hereby authorizes the tribal president or designee official sign and execute all applications and all documents thereof.
Is there any discussion? Need a question? Micah, all in favor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Opposed?
0.
Not voting.
1.
Motion carried.
Okay, the next one is,
That's the Fairview Recovery Project.
bring that on as emergency legislation.
Course 250. Need a second. Jordan, question by Fremont. All in favor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Opposed?
0.
Voting.
1.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Yes, second by Fremont. Go ahead, Russell.
I'll start at the first whereas the U.S. Department of the Interior Bureau of Indian Affairs Regional Office has notified the President Rosebud Sioux Tribe of the availability of $150,000 in support of the Rosebud Sioux Tribe Bear Butte Recovery Project. Whereas the BIA notice of funding availability requests the submission of a revised scope of work budget and budget justification to reflect the amount of funds available. Whereas the Rosebud Sioux Tribe Land and Natural Resource Committee recommends the Rosebud Sioux Tribe accept the funds and direct, in that blank, it's gonna be a game fish and park.
Okay.
to submit a revised scope of work budget justification in the amount of $150,000. Now therefore be resolved that the Rosebud Sioux Tribal Council accepts the funds for the Rosebud Sioux Tribe Bear Butte Recovery Project and authorize the submission of a revised scope of work, budget, and budget. There's two budgets in there. Maybe strike one of them. In accordance with the pursuant to Public Law 93-638 to the BIA Division of Natural Resources, Great Plains Region. Be it further resolved that the President of the Rosebud Sioux Tribe or his authorized delegate is authorized and directed to sign any and all related documents to support the tribe's acceptance of a one-time, non-occurring distribution of funds in the amount of $150,000. And it kind of gives us the award letter, and then we did the budget on the back of last page.
Okay, is there any discussion on it?
I just looked at the back and I was kind of just curious to see are they gonna advertise for that position up there?
No, I think we're doing a contract right
Yeah.
now.
Contract with somebody that has a commission already.
Okay,
We're-
the background in it and
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah. So,
Okay.
I mean, it's
through the people.
it's a police officer.
Okay.
Yeah, and right now, we have an agreement we're working with TLE, we found a place for them to reside at Bear Butte,
Yeah.
to watch over Bear Butte land, and then he goes over to Peshla, so it'd be working with local law enforcement to
Yeah, security and stuff?
secure, yeah.
He's commissioned and everything.
I think I know who it is. Thank you.
okay, is there any more discussion on it? No, we need a question. Dwight, all in favor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Opposed?
0.
Not voting.
1.
Motion carried. Okay, we have another one for a grant application for,
Hold on there. Let's approve this one.
another one for a grant application. It's for, Federal Aviation Administration, FAA. It's a airport improvement grant application. I think it's for weather-related equipment. I need somebody to bring that on. I don't know what. Are they-
Yeah, motion for emergency legislation.
Okay, numbers 2331.
Hold on the next one.
Get a second. We'll get a question. Question by Jordan. We'll wait till they come back in the vote.
Can I have a discussion?
Sure.
I don't know if you guys talked about it really, but you know, we've kind of been discussing it in economic development, but when I got a ride in the helicopter during the storm, the pilot was talking about having our own fuel tankers here. So we could sell the jet fuel and stuff right there, so when people what our issue during the storm was they were having to drop us off and then fly to Valentine and then refuel and then come back. So I guess in the future we should really look at buying a jet fuel storage so we could be a landing place for some of those and they could refill when they're on their way to Rapid or wherever else instead of it just being in Valentine. So I don't know if that's something you guys can look into as well. And then how it works is they'll just come with their credit cards. The pilots have their credit cards, their company credit cards, and they just use them there and they fill back up. And then they'll just leave again. But that's something that will be more useful, I think, down the line. And so.
I'd buy it, make my car go over 55.
You gotta make it from Kroger. Kinda had to Belvedere with that in your car.
Yeah, I know. Gotta skim through that gravel road.
just have this resolution and another resolution, what else we have? What's this one? Oh, we have we have to, select a chairperson for the task commission. I guess it's done by the council, so we elected some task commissioners. I guess we need to appoint a chairman as well, so. Okay, all in favor, bring on emergency legislation.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Opposed?
0.
Not voting.
1.
Motion to approve.
251.
Second by Fremont. Go ahead.
Alright, start at the fifth. Whereas, whereas on February 21st, 2022, the Rosebud Sioux Tribe submitted to the Federal Aviation Administration an airport improvement grant application number 3-46-0082-019-2023 for a grant of federal funds at or associated with the Rosebud Sioux Tribal Airport for the construction of Phase 3 Automated Weather Observing Station AWOS 3-P. And whereas the airport improvement grant application has been approved by the FAA subject to the sponsor's adoption and ratification of the grant assurances, sponsor's acceptance, the benefits to accrue to the United States and the public, and whereas the Rosebud Sioux Tribal Council recommends that the Rosebud Sioux Tribe authorize and direct the president of the Rosebud Sioux Tribe or his authorized delegate the authority to execute the grant, followed by the attorney certification no later than July 28, 2023, in order for the grant in the amount of $279,000 to be valid and assigned SF 425 federal financial report. And whereas, as a condition of receiving federal assistance under this award, the tribe agrees to comply with the audit requirements established under 2 CFR Part 200, Subpart F, and any other applicable audit requirements and standards, and therefore be it resolved, the Rosebud Sioux Tribal Council, scratch that, accepts the recommendation. Rosebud Sioux Tribal Council authorizes and directs the president of the Rosebud Sioux Tribe or his authorized delegate the authority to execute the grant, followed by the attorney's certification no later than August 26, 2023, supposed to be 2023?
July.
Yeah, I was gonna say July, okay. So it'll be July 28, 2023. And it's signed SF 425 Federal Financial Report, and be it finally resolved, the Rosebud Sioux Tribal Council authorizes and directs the president of the Rosebud Sioux Tribe or his authorized delegate the tribe's attorney to sign and execute the airport improvement grant agreement and attorney certification.
Any discussion on the resolution? Not, I need a question. Bill, all in favor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Opposed?
0.
Not voting?
1.
Motion carried.
Motion for emergency legislation.
The second?
Last resolution is as amended, right?
As amended, yeah, as amended. We have to, a couple of them that. We have a second on the emergency legislation? Gordon, question by Donna. All in favor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Opposed?
0.
Not voting.
1.
252?
Yep.
Yeah, motion to approve.
Need a second? Jordan, go ahead.
Okay, I'll start off the one. Fifth, whereas the RST Road Maintenance -A22AB00180 road admin funding source has budgeted monies for road stripping on BIA Route number 1 Rosebud Mission Junction to St. Francis Indian School turnoff, BIA Route number 7 Rosebud to US Highway 18 Parmalee Junction, BIA Route number 9 Rosebud to Soldier Creek. And whereas the RST Road Maintenance Program is requesting to use Traffic Solutions Inc. as a sole source for road stripping, whereas
The Rosebud Sioux Tribe Transportation Committee met on July 12, 2023 and reviewed the request to do a purchase order in the amount of $74,119.50 to Traffic Solutions, Inc. Whereas the Tribal Council did meet and approved to recommend to allow the RST Road Maintenance Program to do a purchase order in the amount of $74,119.50 to Traffic Solutions, Inc., which would be used for road stripping. Now therefore be it resolved that the Tribal Council of the Rosebud Sioux Tribe approves the purchase order to Traffic Solutions, Inc. in the amount of $74,119.50. Now be it further resolved that the Tribal Council of the Rosebud Sioux Tribe hereby authorizes Tribal President or his designee to sign any and all documents pertaining to the subject.
Any discussion? Fremont, question? All in favor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Opposed?
0.
Not voting. One more item to look at, council. We have the appointment of a tax commission chairman.
Oh, that's it? Oh, that's what, I thought it took doing this.
Okay, council, he's passing out a list of the names that are on the tax commission. We have Troy Lunderman, Mandy Medeiros, Ronald Neese, Calvin Hawkeye Wan. I guess according to the rules, we have to pick the chairman of that committee. We did have a meeting with the State Revenue Department, and the tax commission did show up. The two that showed up that was really knowledgeable, that's been on the committee for quite a while, was Troy and Mandy. So they both did a really good job asking questions and explaining things when we had the meeting with the State Department of Revenue. So just for your information, you want to vote for one, or do you just gotta want to recommend one of them or appoint one of them? Donna?
Chairman, I'd like to, if no objections, recommend Troy Lunderman.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna select Troy Lunderman as the chairman of the Budget and Finance, but the appointment of tax commission chairman. We have a second by Dara, question by Eileen. All in favor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10.
Opposed?
0.
Not voting.
2.
Motion carried. Okay, that's,
Just for the record, because my brother was nominated.
what is it?
Yeah.
Just vote, everyone else does.
That's the end of our business, council. We need a motion to adjourn. Donna?
These resolutions?
Second by Eileen, question by Ray. All in favor, adjourning.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Opposed?
0.
Not voting.
0.
Lunch is still coming. A little late, so now we got a cheeseburger and fries.
Okay,